Welcome to Business Analytics. My name is Hari Rajagopalan and I will be your instructor for this lecture. So we are deep into predictive analytics using regression. We've talked about simple regression, we talked about multiple regression, the forward selection method, and now we're going to look at multiple regression backward selection method. Now either one of these methods are perfectly acceptable. So remember, forward selection was additive. We start with no variable, then we test by adding each variable and seeing what we're getting as the most significant improvement to the model. We're going to do the backward elimination or the subtractive method. Now we're going to throw everything into the model and then start deleting the ones which give us the least deterioration. So let's talk a little bit. I'll show you a little bit of the Excel work towards the end. So same example. We have square feet, garage, and bedrooms, and we have the price. We're trying to predict it. The same hypothesis. I'm not going to go into that because you've already gone through it in the last lecture. And we want to figure out the model which gives us the highest or the most explanation, the highest R squared and the lowest standard error. And we also want to avoid overfitting the model. So now we start with all three variables. So let's start with the model where we plug in all these three variables and look at what we get. So the key regression results, we get adjusted R squared of 99.41, standard error of 5.32, and here we have the intercept and the three slopes. But what you'll find when you look at the coefficients is that here are the coefficients and here are the standard errors for these slopes. You will notice that in the p-value, when you do the t-test, bedrooms has 63.44%. So the first thing to do is you have to remove, and you're going to remove the variable which has the highest p-value over alpha. And that's the step you've got to follow. The first step is you're going to remove this and then run the regression model again. So you remove bedrooms and rerun the regression model, and you find here that all the p-values are less than 5% or less than alpha. And therefore, you don't have to do the next step again. Now, if you did get, for example, either square feet or garage, don't worry about the intercept right now. We'll talk about that in a separate video. But if any one of these were over 5%, you would remove that and run it again. And that's why this is called backwards selection, or you're going to remove or subtractive method, and you're going to keep removing the variables until you get all variables which are less than p-values less than alpha. So this is your best model which you have got, whether you do the forward selection or backward selection. Bedrooms, and we talked about bedrooms, are removed because they are highly correlated with the size of the house. And this is the model which has the highest adjusted R squared and the lowest standard error. You can use the final model to run predictions. This is the same as last time. You can create confidence intervals. Remember that these confidence intervals are using your standard error, and therefore they're approximate. You have not found the standard deviation of the prediction for this one. And finally, you need to remember the assumptions for multiple regression. Again, I'm repeating it because it's so important. The error variables are linear. They have a mean of 0. They're independent of each other. There's no correlation between the error variables. They're normally distributed, which you can be checked with the plot, and they have the same variance. There's homogeneity of variances. And I'm going to switch over to Excel to show you how this is done in Excel. So let's look at very quickly, let's go over how we're going to do this in Excel. We start data analysis, regression, and we start with Y range here, and your X range are all three. You have labels, your confidence level 95%. You're going to select the output. You're going to click OK. And what you'll see is once you format it, and all these colors are my formatting, you'll notice that this bedrooms has the highest p-value, which is greater than alpha. Also, let me note that if you have multiple p-values, if let's say garage was also greater than alpha, you will only always select one value at a time. You're not going to delete 5, 6 values together, but only one value. So you delete bedrooms, you copy this, you create a copy, right? And then you go to next one, call it 2 variables, and now you're going to select these 2. So you're going to go data analysis, regression, you're going to select price, you are going to select these 2, and you're going to rerun the model. If the variable that you're going to delete is in the middle, you're going to have to delete it, because remember, you cannot select discontinuous values for the X. And you're going to do this and delete one variable at a time until you get to a p-value which is all less than alpha. Okay, and that will give you your final model.